Plaintiff Dottie McIntosh says she lived a pretty clean life until age 50, when she became addicted to shoplifting. Dottie claims the defendant allowed her to move in because she was down on her luck, and she ended up furnishing her home with stolen goods. Dottie says the defendant agreed to store her property while she was in prison, but she no longer has it, so Dottie's suing. Defendant Janet Lawson says she had no problem allowing Dottie to move in because she wasn't going to let her good friend become homeless. Janet admits that she was storing Dottie's property, but says she was evicted during that time and was physically unable to get the property out.
Prove your case.
Well, Judge Mathis, the reason I came to your show is because I have seen your show on TV several times and heard your story and understood how you had gotten in some trouble as a youth and then went to jail and turned your life around to where you are today. I can certainly respect that. Unfortunately, I have an opposite story. I had my life where I wanted it to be. And then at 50 years old, kind of went the other direction.
Decided to be a thug?
Not a thug. I became.
Well, that's what I was, a thug.
No, I became addicted to shoplifting.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, that's a thug.
I don't know. I think I'm like more of a mom shoplifter, but
that's a thug. A thug is a criminal. A thug is a criminal.
That's true. That's true.
That's what you were in.
Well, I guess I have to tell you, I'm 36 days clean today. No shoplifting.
Oh, good.
You got your pen, you got your watch, your pen, watch, you got your wallet.
Yeah.
See, nothing on my sleeve. This is all me.
I give the benefit of the doubt to second chances.
See, per the state of Wisconsin, they gave me a little piece of jewelry here to remind me about
so
if
does that
I don't
mean you can't go to stores? It'll go off if you go into a store?
No, it doesn't. But actually, on my extended supervision, it does state that I cannot go into a retail store without a responsible adult with me for the amount of time that I am on extended supervision. So I shop with a buddy, and it's working so far, so good.
What got you into shoplifting? We'll get to the personal property you're suing her for in a minute. But what got you into shoplifting?
Well, I didn't think of it that way. I applied for disability. I had some medical issues, and it was a progressive situation. They denied me. I applied again, and they denied me again. I did a reconsideration letter, and they denied me again.
So basically, you're saying you became a criminal as a result of
necessity.
Poverty.
Yes.
And out of desperation.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why most people become criminals.
Yeah.
Not because they're born to be criminals, not because they live in a certain neighborhood and there's bad people. It's because they live in poverty and desperation.
Yep, and necessity. Because, no money, no income. I applied for every program that was available.
Yeah.
There aren't any out there for people in my situation.
How was your education?
I have some college, and I have an associate's degree.
So you were better off.
Yes.
In terms of preparation.
Yes.
Than the average criminal.
Right.
Because most criminals don't have a decent education.
Correct.
Because the schools have failed them.
Yes.
And so they're uneducated.
Correct.
So they can't get a decent job. But you had a good education.
Yes, I did. But when the disability kicked in, it pretty much took
Your ability to work.
Yeah, my ability to use my skills.
Gotcha.
So,
what type of disability?
I have chronic peripheral neuropathy in my feet and in my hands.
What is that?
It's the deterioration of the nerve endings. It's major nerve damage from diabetes. I also am in stage 4 kidney disease at this time.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
but
you certainly
we keep
have
on going.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But it kind of got a little crazy, and money stopped coming in completely, and I lost my apartment and lost my car because I couldn't make the payments and was about to be homeless when I met Jan.
Let me get a little background from her. Ma'am?
I also am on disability. I have pinched nerves in my back, and my legs give out.
How long did it take you to be?
3.5 years. Same situation. I had a minor child I was also raising. with very little money. So when I heard her story, I said, you're not going to be out in the street. You move in now.
You all were desperate
Right.
because the government wouldn't give you your money in time because
Correct.
they
Nope.
ultimately did give it to you.
Correct.
But you couldn't get a
Eventually.
bailout?
No,
The
nothing.
banks got a bailout?
Yeah, I know they did. So did the
were
car
forced for
companies.
3.5
Yeah.
years to live on nothing.
Right. Maybe you should have hung around Wall Street.
Instead of the Walmart. Yeah.
But I'm sorry to hear that about both of you. Go ahead.
I had her move in because I know how it felt. I had been with hardly anything and my son for 3.5 years. So she moved in and we became friends.
But when you were impoverished
Right.
and desperate, you didn't turn to crime.
No.
So the point I'm making now is everybody does it and they don't have to turn to crime because they are impoverished and because they are desperate. Let me get to what she's suing about, the personal property.
Yes. When this first started out, the first time I ever decided that I had no option but to do what I had to do, I took a Walmart bag and I went to Walmart and I thought, only get what you need, only get what you need. I need toothpaste, I need deodorant, I have to take care of myself. So I got a few things in the cart and I walked around the corner and I thought nobody was looking. I shoved them in the bag and I thought, oh God, oh God. I was so scared, Judge Mathis. I was shaking. And so I walked down an aisle to make it look like I came out of a checkout lane and I'm walking up and here's that lady by the door, you know? And I thought, oh, I'm going to jail, I'm going to jail. And she said, have a good day. Thank you for shopping at Walmart. And I said, no, thank you. And I kept thinking, God, don't run. Just walk to the car, breathe, breathe. And I got to the car, backed out, and I got to the street, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and nobody was behind me. And I said, oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe I got what I needed. And I almost wanted to cry because I was so relieved, but yet it was such an adrenaline rush. I thought, you know what? I bet I could do that again. I really do. I thought, boy, if that was that easy, I wonder what else they have in this store that I need to get. So when I moved in with Jan and found out that she was not much better off than I was, other than I had more personal property than she did, no curtains on the
You
moved
moved it in.
Yep, moved it on in and
All
went
right.
to the Walmart and
So how do
Costco
we
and-
come to the, she won't give it to you now?
No, the shoplifting kind of was the slippery slope, you know, down we went and got caught, got a citation, $200. I thought, well, that's cheap for all the stuff I took this last year. And, and then the next year I got one for that. And then the next year I got like 2 in a row. And they said, oh, we're pretty tired of you. So now it's going to be a state charge. So I got a year's probation, and within a month and a half, I reoffended and got my probation revoked. Did 4 months in the county jail, got out. It kind of went from bad to worse, and they got real tired of me. So the next time, they charged me with a repeater and asked for prison time. My lawyer was screaming about 2 years of probation. I said, you can keep your probation. I do not want probation. You don't understand.
So I belong in jail.
I'm not stopping. Okay, I knew the consequences, and I still went anyway. I need to be taken out of the situation and be able to change my mindset so it isn't an everyday shopping
Now,
trip.
when you came out, had you changed?
Yes.
And you haven't?
I
gone
asked
back?
the judge
All
for
right,
the 18
good.
months in.
What happened?
I made Jan power of attorney when I was actually sentenced to prison to keep my vehicle and keep all of my personal property, and gave her and another set of people permission to go pack it all up in my apartment and bring it back to Jan's to store. She said, we don't need a storage unit. We have a big basement. We'll just put it in the basement. It'll be fine till you
Then
get
what
home.
happened to cause you to sue her?
Well, I came home March 31st, but I found out in January that Jan had lost all of my property. What
happened to your property?
She did what I had asked, and then she had back surgery sometime last June, I believe, while I was incarcerated.
And?
She didn't recover well.
And?
Gave the boyfriend money to pay the rent.
And?
He did not.
Property. What happened
She
to
got
your
evicted.
property? Okay.
She got evicted.
She was evicted, and then what happened? She didn't take your property with her?
She wasn't able to because of her physical
Okay.
situation.
And she notified you of that?
No. And so the son went over there and only got part of her property, and the next day they went to get the rest, and the
Whose
landlord told him
son?
no. Jan's son.
And you never knew anything about any of this
No.
until you came home and saw that your property was gone.
No, I had no clue.
Okay, good enough, ma'am.
Judge Mathis, you better watch your gavel because that would really be a good trophy for Dottie. She would really love to have that. As a matter of fact, her shoplifting escapades even got her a front page center news article in
Let's
our
get
local
to the
paper.
personal property.
She had gone into prison. Her landlord contacted her, and he said, "You need to move your stuff. You're
She moved
evicted."
it into your
No,
place.
I did for her. So
same
because the
thing.
landlord said, "If you don't get it out of here, it's going in the trash."
Do you have the power of attorney agreement?
Jan had the power
Let's
of
see
attorney
it.
agreement.
Because
I
it
don't
should
have
be, nobody has it. Anyone have any written evidence that I can look at?
She had receipts.
Receipts relevant to you, what?
Things that I
Because you
owned.
did, you stole it, so how you going to have receipts?
No, she has
I didn't steal everything.
She didn't steal everything.
I didn't
Okay.
steal everything in my life.
But receipts don't tell me whether she's responsible for not getting your things. In other words, she has to be responsible for overseeing your things.
Correct.
Right. Until 2 months, or until she was in prison, she called me and said, "Please
And you
be my
did
power of
assume
attorney."
responsibility.
That's when I signed the
So why
paper.
don't you think you should be responsible if you assumed responsibility?
I physically could not move them. I had every intention of keeping them for her, having them waiting for her when she got out of jail. I
Ma'am,
physically could
you
not.
didn't know that if you had to move it, that you were unable to do it?
No, sir, I did not.
When did you determine that you would be unable?
I had already had my back surgery. I was
Okay.
recovering in a nursing home.
Did you call
And
anyone to arrange it?
The only person I had was my son.
Did you tell her?
Not, I was afraid to. I didn't tell her.
Okay, ma'am, you had a responsibility to tell her that you were unable to do what you agreed to do. You agreed to care for her property. You signed a power of attorney agreeing to do something, and then
was
you
unable to
found
do it.
out that you were unable to.
Yes,
At
sir.
that point, you should have contacted her and said, "I'm unable to." So I'm going to have to grant her judgment, $3,943. I apologize. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I lost your property. I would have kept it, but I couldn't. I physically couldn't get it moved.
I know that, Jan. If anybody is honest, it's you. I know that very much. And that's why we're still friends.
Want to give each other a hug?
Yeah, this is my girl.